You can also put her on a ball if she's small enough for long sitting. Some kids are not, right? Some kids are bigger, some adults are bigger. So long sitting on a ball is a little bit more difficult unless the kid is small. But putting them on a ball and having that movement, remember what we said about vertical and horizontal movements, which ones are stimulating, which ones are inhibiting, right? Going in a vertical way is inhibiting, right? Whereas going side to side is facilitating. So if I move her this way, right, that's going to be facilitating. If I move her this way, it'll be calming. Okay? Because I'd be rocking. Does that make sense? So that's ways that you can facilitate or inhibit as well. Okay, so then after long sitting, then we need to move to what?
Is that crisscross?
Crisscross. Okay, so crisscross applesauce.
On this? No.
You don't have to. You can do it on this, but she can take it out. Try to do it with being on the wedge. Because it's still going to encourage her to come forward, right? And then come straight up. You see?
Oh, you look so properly poised.
Yeah, you see how it really does facilitate?
It does.
You can do this with a chair and have the back end of a chair raised up, and it'll cause you to sit in with proper alignment. So, okay, so we can do this. We can use bodies. We can use a base of a couch to sit the child against or a wall. We can have them crisscross on a ball or on a swing, a platform swing, right? We can have them do this. And either be facilitating or inhibiting depending on which way we rock them, or we could do rotary movements. Rotary movements are what?
Going in a circle.
Rotating.
They are in a circle, but are they facilitating or inhibiting?
Facilitating?
It's facilitating.
Facilitate.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because vertical. Facilitate. Okay.
Vertical, this way is inhibiting.
Inhibiting.
Yep.
And
Side
then
to side is
is
facilitating.
Facilitating.
And spinning
You're
is
going side
facilitating.
to side because gravity.
Okay, and so then she goes crisscross, and then the next step up from that is
Then you go to the kneeling?
no.
Oh my goodness.
Crisscross.
The Taylor.
The Taylor
Oh,
sitting.
yes.
So Taylor sitting. Okay,
Yes,
so
it's
then
kinda
she could
tight.
Taylor sit. We would support her the same way in Taylor sitting. Okay. 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 So now we go into the kneeling, right? And so go ahead and come off the wedge.
Oh, hold on.
Slide. We caught that on tape. Okay, so okay, so now we go into kneeling again. So to get from sitting to kneeling, what would be the best way to do that? Do you think?
Sitting. Okay, can you show me the crisscross?
Do
And
you
then
want
we gotta go crisscross
do you mean
to Taylor,
Taylor?
right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I wanted to see how she would.
Well, even if she's sitting, it doesn't really matter. Whatever position, whether it's long sitting, crisscross, or Taylor sitting.
The hand on the side?
Shift her body to one side.
Okay, so what kind of sitting would allow us to do that?
Side sitting.
Side sitting. So when we're transitioning to kneeling from sitting, she's going to have to be like this and come up like this, right? So we would transition her to side sitting, okay? So then we're going to tell her we're going to come to side sitting. We're going to want you to lean and bring your legs back. Okay, so we're here, and then we're going to transition now to short kneeling, right? So now you're going to come up, and now you can facilitate where you need to, whether it's going to be the hips, whether it's just physical cueing of the shoulders, but we're going to come up on your knees, okay, and sit back. So she goes, so look, side sitting, short kneeling, right, tall kneeling.
Okay.
Okay, so then here we can support her. We could do short sitting on the ball. We can have her short kneeling on the wedge as well. What, short kneeling?
Well, you said she can shorten
They
it
do
on the
feed them
ball.
on my ankles.
Yeah, we can have
As
her
a
short
kid.
kneeling on, as a,
Okay.
if it was a kid, yeah. But we can have her short kneeling on the wedge like this because this is going to encourage her
Like
again
posture.
to kneel up straight. Okay. So, so we can have her kneeling where her back's against the wall if she has a lot of extension, right? Or a base of a couch.
Wouldn't her feet get in the way of that?
Now she's sitting on 'em, like this.
Oh, okay. I was looking
If
at
we're
her
short
tall
kneeling.
kneeling. Yeah.
If we're short kneeling, we can do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Now, tall kneeling, no. So then, when we're going to tall kneeling, go ahead and go to short kneeling, please. When we're going to tall kneeling, we're going to support her at the hips, right, and encourage her to lift up like that. Okay? If we need to, we can control with the hips and a shoulder if we need to, but controlling with the hips should be enough for a kid. Okay? So I'll bring her up here, and then I can support again with my body. Okay? I can have her tall kneeling on the wedge.
Do we have
Yeah.
a handout for this? Like,
Well, you have the
Steps.
positions.
you have like for our like a practical paper, like we're used to getting.
Oh, like she means like whenever we did our practicals for functional net, you handed us a packet with all the information.
No, I don't
Okay.
have that.
Okay.
But we can write it on the board when I get back to class. Okay, and then from here, we can go into half kneeling, right? So we're going to encourage her to bring this foot forward. So bring this, so you're going to have to help. So actually, I probably did it wrong because she should be leaning into me. So we're going to bring this one forward. So bring this one in, up. You see how, because she has to shift weight, right? And make this her weight bearing side. So I want to be on the side that I want her to bear weight on as she's moving this leg forward.
Is your leg supporting her thigh back here in your body?
Yes.
Okay.
Right here it is.
Okay. Is your leg giving any support down here?
No. Now it could, if she was a baby, I could have. So. Now, think of her being a lot smaller. No, go and half kneeling. Think about her being a lot smaller. I can use my body for her to kneel over my leg like this, and this foot would be forward. This leg is here, and my leg would be help support her thigh here.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
And then
what
I
I
can do the manipulating of her pelvis, but as she's an adult, that's gonna be a little
Okay.
different.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like,
But
what
So-
can we support this bottom?
and I can also use a bolster, but of course this is gonna be smaller, too small for her. But so I'd have to use a bigger bolster. But for a kid, this would be a
It
good
would
size
work,
or
yeah.
here. So a bolster, a pillow would work. Anything that could support the thigh.
Okay.
If you were using your leg, like for a baby or whatever, would you have them move and then slip your leg in there, or would you help them move their leg over your leg?
I'd help them move their leg up.
Okay.
Okay. And so then from this, remember from half kneeling, then we go to standing, right? So that's the next position. So we may need to support the hips like this to bring her up because she's going to do some weight shifting, right? Or I may have to support her hip and her shoulder depending on how she does this, okay? So go ahead and come up. So I can, go ahead, up. You see, so I was able to provide support to her pelvis as she was coming up.
So how will we know where to support?
It would depend on if
It-
they
it-
have low tone or high tone.
Yeah, it will depend on how they move as well, and whether or not they have dyspraxia or not.
Yeah.
Will our paper tell us if they have that? For the
No.
practical?
I mean, you'll just know that I'm gonna provide support. The key points of control. It may be the pelvis, or it may be the pelvis and the shoulder, is what you would say.
So are we not
Is there
actually
any-
physically
You
doing
will
it?
be doing it on the baby doll.
Oh.
On my
I'm a
baby.
baby.
Oh my god.
What's her name?
Because you're gonna tell me.
Not Samantha. Shannon.
No, oh, that was not her name for me.
Oh.
It was
Yeah, mine
Mine was
Shaquita.
Karen.
no, that was not the name. It was oh, I think it was one of Michael Jackson's sisters.
He named mine Bertha.
Mine was
That's
Karen.
an old school name.
It
Janet's
was
a
like
good name, though.
Latoya.
Latoya,
That's what it
that's
was.
right,
It was
Latoya Jackson,
Latoya.
So
Yeah,
if she's
I
standing,
know. You could have put Sheila.
I'm sorry. So if she is standing, we can stand her against a
She was
wall.
right,
If
actually.
it's a kid, of course, we can use the base of a couch or a chair, you know, things like that. So to support her in standing. But it will depend if you need to use the hips or the pelvis, depending on whether it's a tone issue, whether it's a sensory issue, whether it's praxis or dyspraxia that they're having trouble with. So, does that make sense?
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, but
So,
Oh.
go ahead. Well, she can. I'm done.
I can record any questions.
Are we done? Like with the
What questions do you have?
with the practical? Okay,
Yeah, well, I need to go look at the rest of the practical, but I think that
Yes,
addressed
'cause
most of the
I am
issues.
confused on how this practical is going to be administered. I
You're gonna
really
do-
am. Like I'm not understanding.
You're going to do it the same way you did the reflexes. I'm going to be the parent. You're going to come in and you're going to say, hey, I'm going to help. We're going to work on transitioning from one position to another today.
Okay, so will we
And you're going to draw a card and it's going to say from Taylor sitting to tall kneeling, for example.
Okay, but it won't be like skipping steps. It'll be steps to steps, right?
You're going to progress it
Open
from
the door
step to
so
steps, but I could do one step to. I'm going to skip several steps.
One thing out of the fridge. I'm getting started a little